Alright, so I'm going to show how to open up and disassemble this Razer. Let's see, where's the model number here? Model rz09-03006, okay? So, I don't know what the actual model, but the product number rz09-03006e92. So sometimes they come up with different model names for these. I don't know what this one's called, like Razer Blade or something, but I don't know. We'll find out. Alright, so first what you're going to need, it looks like these are T5 screws. You want to keep the screws in order, but we're going to remove the screws first, okay? So there's 4 along the top, 2 along the sides, and then 4 more along the bottom. Alright, again, you want to keep the screws in order. Make sure you put them back in the same spot you took them out from, because a lot of times the screws are different size, shapes, and lengths. You don't want to get them mixed up, or you can damage things, okay? Most likely all the bottom screws are the same size on here, but either way it's a good idea to put the same screw back where you got it. So I like to lay it out in the pattern I remove them, so that way I can put them, make sure I put them back in the same pattern that I got them from. Okay, so there we go. So this laptop is having a fan issue. I might not do like a full disassembly depending what needs to be done. If I can remove the fans without taking the whole board out, then I will do that, okay? Then I won't be taking out the board, so we'll see. Alright. So once we got these 10 screws out, usually you can just lift it up with a suction cup or something. So let's see here. So we can get the suction cup, stick it on, and yes, we can just pull the cover off. Comes off very easily. There aren't any clips or anything holding it down. So they said this fan is making noise. Actually, it might be. I guess I'll have to use an air blower to test it. So I have a handheld air blower. I'll try that in a bit just to see. It looks like I'm not going to have to take the whole laptop apart to get the fan out, so I'm not going to be showing that. But here you can see what's inside. There's a M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD. This area looks like it can fit a standard 2.5-inch SATA hard drive, but they didn't provide any connectors or anything, so yeah, it looks like these would go here, and then there's probably something that you can plug. No, that's kind of a weird spot. I don't know. It looks like you would be able to. So I don't know, you'd have to look up online, see if there's a bracket for this or something. I mean, there's the bracket here, then you need the screws to hold the hard drive in place. But anyways, we got the RAM here, so you want to make sure, to ground yourself. Here you can see the RAM is 8 gigs PC4 2666V, okay? But, yep, and then to put the RAM back, you just slide it in like this, and then click it down. I might have to start it up just to see which fan is making the noise if my handheld air blower doesn't work. You got the BIOS or CMOS battery here, one speaker connector here, another speaker, it looks like the connector is down here. All of these connectors, they have these little wings. You kind of just grab the wings, wiggle it, and pull it. These ones have these pull tabs that you kind of pull up, and then you kind of pry underneath and pull it up. Oh, actually, this is the hard drive connector. So they did provide the hard drive connector. It's taped down right here. So you can add a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. You just need the screws to screw the hard drive onto this metal bracket. Okay, battery connectors right here. Wireless card is here. The antennas, I always just pull from the tail with my 2 fingernails, just pull it up. You got this connector here. This is for the LCD or LVDS for the screen. If you are going to mess with this, you want to make sure disconnect the power, disconnect the battery, press and hold the power button 10 to 15 seconds, and then try pulling this. If you pull this out when the battery's still connected, you can actually damage your computer pretty bad. The GPU is here. It's soldered to the board. Same thing with the CPU. Most likely this fan is the bad one because this is the CPU fan, and the CPU fan usually will run a lot more than the GPU fan. So I'm not sure what this connector is here for. I don't want to pry up stuff that I don't need to because they just have a fan issue, and I don't want to risk messing up one of these expensive computers. You got the charge port DC jack connector right here. This one also kind of just slides back like that, It looks like there's some brackets on top holding it in place, but Razer uses this weird kind of connector. Okay, sorry I'm not showing how to disassemble all this stuff. If you want to see how these connectors go, you can watch my other videos. I show how to remove almost all the connectors on my other videos. So yeah, I don't like messing around with stuff that I don't need to because there's a lot of risk involved. So yeah, okay. And here it looks like they put little stickers that cover the screws, which is kind of annoying. Those must be like security stickers so they know that you messed with it or took something out. I'm going to try and use a needle to lift the stickers off that I need to for the fan. I don't know if it will come out or not. We will try. Let me zoom in. Okay. The sticker's probably going to just end up getting all torn up, but we'll see what we can do. Yeah, these kinds of stickers are the security stickers that they just tear up. So I'm going to just use the screwdriver. This is a PH1 or JIS1 screwdriver. Okay, I might actually have to remove the screen connector here because the cable is in the way. Alright. So I'm going to just scrape off all the adhesive from the top of the screw. Okay, I'm just scraping the adhesive off. Okay, we'll set that one screw aside. Then there's another screw under here. Oops, can't see. Underneath the cable here, so we're going to remove that screw as well. Okay, I'm going to get my handheld air blowing thing in a bit just so I can show you. Uh-oh. Sorry, I was getting a call, but it looks like it let me decline it. Okay, so this fan, it looks like I can pull it out without taking all the cables out. So I'm going to just unroute the cables like this, kind of guide them out from there. And then we got the fan connector underneath here, which looks like it's one that you just pull downwards. So I'm going to use my fingernail and kind of just try and work it out. Usually you want to kind of wiggle it side to side. If you can't, I'm going to grab the cable here and I'm going to kind of wiggle and pull it. Let's see. Wow, that connector's held in there pretty strong. So I'm going to have to kind of push these cables out of the way. And let's see if I can grab it and pull it. I don't want to use any metal tweezers or anything because you can damage the computer that way. But there we go. Alright, so we got the fan out. So, oh yeah, I can feel it. So when I turn this, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's buzzing a lot. So I'm going to clean off the dust here. I'm going to actually use a brush and then use my air blower to clean all of this out. So I'll be back after I clean out the dust, and then I'll show you how we can possibly fix this fan. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so I'm back with the air blower. Okay, I'm going to zoom out a bit so you can see. So here I have this and I can spin the fan. And I can definitely feel it's bad. And you can see the fan doesn't spin very long. So this fan, I can feel that fan's good. It spins much longer by itself after I stop. Okay. So, oops, let me clean this off a little bit more. Alright, so I cleaned off this metal plate as well. These things are thermal pads, so you want to be careful. You don't want to get these too dirty, otherwise it won't help pull the heat away as well. Alright, so now we're done with that. I'm going to set this aside, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to fix the fan. So, alright. So we've got the fan here, and on this side of the fan, oops, let me zoom in. Hopefully this fan will be repairable. Sometimes they're not. But as you can see on the fan, there's these little plastic pieces that are sticking up. These are just melted pieces of plastic to hold the metal plate in place. And most of the time, once we cut these off, we can just take this metal plate off and then pull the propeller blades off and use some synthetic motor oil to kind of lubricate the fan. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to cut these plastic pieces off. So I just use a razor blade like this, okay, angle it slightly downwards. And I don't know if you can see, there we go. And then you just kind of slowly slice the plastic off, just like this, okay? So the way you'll know that you did it right is once you cut this, the plastic here will actually be a thinner plastic that can slide through the metal plate, okay? So we'll do this with all of them. Be careful for the cable here. All right, and we'll toss that. Hopefully you can actually see it. The lighting I know is not very good because the background is bright and then the thing I'm working on is dark. But just cut this thing up. Just like this. Okay. You want to be careful cutting this. You don't want to accidentally cut your fingers. Okay. Got the other one back here. The sticker, if you want, you can write down what's on the sticker or peel the sticker off just in case so you don't damage it. In case you need that number for later. Alright. Go. And then we got another one here. I don't know if you can see it. And usually you wouldn't want to keep your hand in front of the thing, but if you're slowly slicing it like back and forth like that, then you shouldn't have a problem with the razor blade flying towards your hand. So just slowly slice it like this, okay? Alright, so now that we cut all of those off, we should be able to lift this unless there's some hidden ones. Okay, there we go. And I guess this adhesive is actually wrapped over here. Or actually, it's okay, it's just stuck. So we'll take this metal plate off now. And then we'll brush that off. Okay, so you got this piece cleaned up. If you want, you can brush the inside of this as well. I'm just doing this over my trash can. Sorry, it's not in view of the camera. Okay, once we got that cleaned up, usually what you can do is grab this and you want to evenly lift up. So let's see. Oh no, it looks like it's not going to let me lift this off, huh? Okay. So it looks like this fan propeller is actually one of those ones that's kind of sealed in place. So I guess we can't fix this fan. Sometimes if we're lucky, we can put even pressure on all three of these. I like to use, maybe I should try and 3D print something for this, but I like to use a tool that pushes on the back and then I just push this down on top. And a lot of times that will push the blades through. I'm going to check the back of this sticker. Sometimes there's a plastic cap. Nope, this one is metal. So I can't really drill through that, or I could probably drill through it, but it would cause some problems. But yeah, I'm gonna have to see what the customer wants to do, because this is gonna be risky. If I try and pop this up, sometimes it actually damages the piece beneath it, and then we're not gonna be able to put this back together. So I'm gonna have to check for a replacement fan. They don't have a fan. Oh, okay, they have a fan model number here. So depending on yours, you'd want to check your specific model, but here you can see the fan DFS501105PR0T. So that's the fan model number. You can see it's a 5 volt 0.5 amp fan. Okay, so it looks like we will have to buy a replacement fan for this, or I'm going to check with the customer, see how quickly they need this back. If they don't need it right away, then I will risk popping this up and then we'll go from there. But yeah, for now I'm gonna leave this as is, and if I make another video, or I'll stitch it together if they're okay with me trying to rip the fan open. Okay, I'll see you guys in a bit. Hopefully this at least helped you know how to remove the fan, and then you can just put a new fan in. If it did, please like and subscribe, help others find my videos. The other thing here, when you reconnect this, make sure that these exposed gold pins are facing upwards. You don't want this part in the back where I guess you can see the cables. Oops. You can see the cables, but not the pins. Alright, so I'm going to call my customer, see what they want to do, and I'll probably be back in a bit. I'll also do the reassembly. So, alright, see you in a bit. Bye. All right, so the customer said they're okay without their computer for a few days if I have to order a new fan. So I'm gonna attempt to see if I can repair this fan. If I can't, then I definitely have to replace it. So I looked it up, and this is actually called a Razer Spirit or something. So I'll look up the exact model later. Okay, so what you wanna do, if I can, let's see. I need something better to do this, like Legos or something. But what I've been doing is I would take some screwdriver bits, like these kinds of things. I'd try and get the larger ones. Let's see here. So I'm going to try with multiple. I'm going to probably have to pull this mat out. So let's take this off here. And I'm going to try it with the desk because then I can actually sit this flat here. Okay, and basically what I'm doing, is lining these things up with the holes in the propeller blades, so that way I can use that to help push on the back. Okay, so I'm just going to get a bunch of these out, and I have to try and line them up underneath. The more of these you can fit under, the better. Okay, but I'm probably just going to do like 2 or 3 on each. Okay, kind of want them all lined up. And then you want to try and look through and make sure that they are going into the propeller blades. Okay, it's hard for me to see while doing this on camera. My head's going to get in the way, sorry. Oops. Okay, so we'll get wait, okay. Get those 2 in. And we'll slide those 2 in. Okay. Oops. Yeah, this is a little bit tricky to do while filming it, because normally I would have my head over the top and I can actually see what I'm doing, but hopefully you get the point. I'm going to try and hold this in here. Okay. Okay, I'm probably gonna, let me block it. I'm gonna just do this first and I'll be back. I'm gonna pause the video. Alright, so I got the things underneath, as you can see. So what we're gonna do now is try and pull straight down and hopefully push the fan blades through without destroying it. There we go. Okay, so that worked. Alright, so we got the propeller fan blade out. Okay, that was really tough and it felt kind of risky. Again, ideally you'd want something that fits perfectly into these little slots. Okay, since I didn't have anything like that, I had to just use those. In the future, I'm gonna see if I can maybe 3D print something like this, but the problem with this is like these little vent holes, they always vary in size, so it's not an easy thing to just 3D print. I'd have to like measure and 3D print like a lot, and 3D printing kind of takes a while, so we'll see. And then I'd have to also design something to do it. So maybe I can find a way to make a tool that's kind of just a long thing, because ideally you just want something that's running along these, but they'd have to be somewhat adjustable. Okay, so anyways, we got the propeller blades off. So now what we're going to do is add some grease here. Okay. Oh, too many people are calling right now. All right, I'm going to decline the call and then I'll call them back later. Okay, so what you want to do is get some grease. So I've done one of these earlier, similar, except the fan wasn't so difficult to remove. Here you can see why the fan was so difficult to remove. This piece, it kind of has like a little groove in it, and that plastic, it kind of, there's a plastic inside or metal that kind of grips that and holds that in place. So anyways, what we're gonna do now is add some grease to the thing. I just got some like Mobile One. You can use any synthetic oil, works best, I found. Okay, then you just dip like a little needle in there, and then you just drop the oil into the center here. So this is the bearing. Okay, so I'm gonna get like 2 drops. You don't want it overflowing, you just want it enough to kind of like lubricate the bearings in there. Okay, and then after that you just put this back on. So I'm going to spin it without clicking it back into place first. As you can see, it spins a lot better. It's not doing the weird vibration anymore. Okay, so I'm going to pull this back out. I'm going to clean the shaft off a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to put one more drop of oil in there, and then I'm going to click it back down. So it should be good. All right, get one more drop of oil, drip it in there. Okay, get that in. Kind of put a lot, but it should be good. All right, so now that we got the oil in there, can put the propellers back on. Actually, since we have the propellers off, I'm going to brush in here just to loosen up any dust. Okay, put it out of the way. We've got a little of the grease there, but it's not really a big deal. Clean it off. Okay, we'll put this back on, spin it around, get the grease to go in there. You can see it's a lot better. Now we're going to click that back in. So now you can see the fan clicked in place. If I try and pull it, it's stuck again. Okay, so there we go. All right, I'm going to try and clean this off again. Or spin it around some more. Here you can see it's so much better than before. Okay, so I'm going to now put back my mat to work on. Okay, let's zoom out. I'm going to try and get this mat centered. Okay. There we go. Alright, so we got the fan propellers repaired. So what we're going to do now is put this metal plate back on top. Make sure it's lined up. And then we're going to use some tape to hold this metal plate back on. Okay. So what I like to do is just get some tape. Okay. Peel it up. Make it long enough that it can wrap over the edge of the fan. Okay. We'll just cut this off. Alright, and then now that we have this, we're going to cut little strips from this. So cut a strip there. And what you want to do, make sure this metal plate is on. Okay, make sure it doesn't move around, it's seated properly, and then you put a piece of the tape up there, and then you just wrap it over. Okay, so we're going to do this around all the way around the fan so that we can get a good seating, good seal. Okay, and this one I'm going to put over here. Since there's a screw, I'm starting on this side, and then I'm wrapping it over this way. Okay. More of the tape. Okay, and then we'll stick the tape on the side first, wrap it over the top. Okay, you want it roughly around where those little plastic divots are that were holding it before. Okay, stick this over the top, wrap it over. We still got a bunch of tape left, so we're probably going to add some extra ones. Okay, you don't want to put it right over the divot because it kind of like bows outwards, but close enough to it is good. This one's slightly coming up, so I might put the rest of the tape holding that one. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to put the tape here and just wrap it over. Okay, so now this piece should hold in place again. Should have the metal holding on tight, and now we're gonna put the computer back together. All right, so we'll put that. Let's see, let's grab the computer. All right, so again, you want to be careful. I didn't disconnect the battery. If you want to be extra safe, you can disconnect the battery. There are these screws holding it in place. This battery does look like it's going bad. It's kind of bulging a little. I don't know if there's a model number here too if you want to replace the battery. Is rz09-03006e92. Hopefully you can actually read that. Let me zoom in actually so you can get a better view. Okay, here rz09-03006e92. Alright, so now we're going to put the fan back. So it's going to be a little bit tricky because we have to guide all these wires back in. let's try and reconnect the fan connector first. So get that fan connector over there, line it up. Okay, and then squeeze that to pull it back in. All right, there we go. Once you do that, you can guide the whole fan back in. Try and guide all these wires. It's probably easiest to get the wires into this little loop part first. Okay, and get this connector in. There we go. And get those underneath. Get the antenna wires to go underneath. Just like that. Alright, get this connector to go underneath. There we go. And then work it so that this piece goes on top. I don't remember if all the cables were in this thing. It doesn't seem like there's enough room for it. But let's see. I'll try and get them all back. I'll try and get them all in there. Alright. Yeah, I don't think the DC jack cable was in there, so I'm going to leave that one out. Let's unthread these. Let's leave the DC jack connector out because that one's a little bit too thick. And we're just going to do the LCD cable and the wireless antennas, okay? So we'll get that in. We'll get that cable in, and then we'll get this. Make sure that they end up on top of the screw hole because you don't want to smash that and clamp that down. Okay, just like this. Rotate it. Make sure you're not getting any cables or anything trapped underneath. Okay, so now we've got that. And we're going to put the screws back in. There's only 2 screws, so we'll first put this screw loosely. Make sure all these cables are going the right way. We'll get the second screw in. Again, make sure you don't clamp down the wireless antennas or the LCD cable. Okay, once you get both screws in, I like to push with my thumb and kind of squeeze the top here to make sure that the fan is as close to the heatsink as possible. And then tighten the screws down. Okay, I don't know what this gross stuff is on there. I'm going to clean it off. Oops, let's zoom out so you can see better. Okay. Alright, so now we got all of that in. This fan is so much better, no more vibrations. It's spinning a lot faster. Okay. Make sure everything's reconnected. If you disconnected anything, again, there is a SATA 2.5-inch hard drive connector here, so you can add a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive or SSD here. Okay. Alright, let's see what else. I think that's pretty much all there is to this. If you did take out the battery, make sure you plug it back in. Okay. And yeah, we're going to put the cover back on now. Should be good to go. Whoops, you don't need to see all of that. Okay, so we'll just put the cover back on, line it up, make sure the screws line up. And again, because this one, oops, make sure I put these things back where they're supposed to go. Okay. And because there's no clips holding this in place, you'll want to loosely replace the screws first. Make sure everything is lined up, and then you can go ahead and tighten down all the screws. So right now, I'm just putting in the screws loosely here. Okay, not tightening them in place. This. Alright, so there we go. Alright, now that we got all the screws in, Make sure to hold the panel down and just tighten the screws in place. Okay. Just like this. And these fan propeller blades are kind of thin, so the method I use to kind of pop the propeller out, if you can, the more surface you can get pushing against the fan, the better. And you want to make sure that you put even pressure when you pop it out, because if you don't, you can actually break the propellers off. And these fans are pretty expensive. I looked on Amazon, I think it's like $40 or something, $30 to $40 for one fan. So yeah, you want to be careful with the fans. Okay. Alright, just like this. Okay, so now we got all the screws back in place. We should be good to go. I'm just going to power it on to make sure everything's working, especially since that RAM stick just like flew out. But let's see here. Okay, keyboard's lighting up and the computer is starting. So we are good to go. Hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, like and subscribe. Again, if you're confused how to disconnect anything, because I mainly did this for the fan repair, just check my other videos, and you should be able to figure it out from there. Anyways, again, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, help others find my videos so that they can fix their fans and whatever else. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, I'm going to shut this down. Bye.